Hi everyone.
Hi.
My name is Alex, and I'm a graduate physiotherapist and strength coach. I'm a lot into pain science. I'm a geek of pain science, and before I started, I would like you to ask one simple question, but Tatek and Marco, they are not allowed to engage. What do you think? Why we get pain, or what is the pain?
Muscle spasms, sort of.
Okay.
Stiffening.
Strain, too much stress.
Sorry.
Stress.
Stress. Nice.
Stiffening of muscles.
Maybe this is consequence.
Pressure on the nerve, you know?
Pressure on the nerve. Okay. Okay. Nice answer. So
Not working
this
out
is
enough.
sorry.
Not working out enough.
I will explain it. Okay. So this is very complex topic, but I will try to explain the most simplest way why we get pain, what is the pain, and few advices how to get rid of and how to cope with the pain. I will go fast throughout the theory because I don't like this, and we will start with history. And it's very important to notice one difference here. So we have a definition adopted in 1979, which found that pain is unpleasant sensory and emotional experience associated with actual or potential tissue damage, or described in terms of such a damage. But now we have a revised definition for 2020, which unfortunately a lot of health practitioners are not aware of. And it goes that pain is an unpleasant sensory and emotional experience associated with or resembling that associated with actual or potential tissue damage. I would like you to remember this small but very huge difference, because in most cases it's the resembling that associated and not actual tissue damage. We have a lot of proof for that, where the people were taking the subjects and doing the x-rays, and for example there is one study where they took 100 people, they will x-ray their back, and they found that a lot of people who have degenerative vertebrae, disc bulges, even discus hernias, they were found on the scans, but they never experienced the pain. All these subjects were pain-free. I don't say that tissue doesn't matter. They matters in a few cases, like fractures or luxations, or when you have ruptures where you have significant instability. But in most cases, tissue itself and tissue damage does not cause the pain by itself. Pain is multifactorial thing. There is many causes for the pain. Why we get the pain? Why I'm telling you all these things? It's because of that. Like I said, most of health practitioners are not aware of, still practicing first definition, like I said, and this has a very huge nocebo effect on the patient. Nocebo is opposite of placebo, as like you see, the harmless thing that causes us the harm. For example, you go to the doctor, you have a back pain, and he send you to the X-ray, and then the X-ray result comes and said you have this, you have that, you have this, telling you all your weaknesses, tell you that you have to be careful how you move, otherwise it can be some bad expectations, and then you go home, and then the things become worse. Why? Because of this. Because you get fear. When you have fear, you get anxiety. When you get anxiety, you move less. You're scared, and then our capacity goes down, and then we are going to the vicious cycle where the pain just goes up. Again, boring theory. There is a lot of theories about the pain. First one dates back from 4th century BC. I learned from the theory number 5, which is dated from 1965, and still in a lot of universities, unfortunately, students are learning about this theory, but now we have, and thanks God I'm on that, and I'm going to speak about threat neuromatrix theory of pain. So before I go to the core, would like to ask you, what do you think? What is the brain primary job? To survive or to perform?
Actually, it's survive.
Yes. Brain definitely values more survival. First thing is to survive. When the brain feels safe, we can perform. How the brain keeps us alive? It keeps us alive by constant prediction, constant pattern recognition. And this is a slide. This slide explains how we survive. So every second we are getting sensory informations from our sensory organs like eyes. Eyes are the most important. Ears, semicircular canals in the vestibular system are telling us where we are in the space. Our tongue for the taste, nose for the smell, our skin for the touch, joints, muscles, internal organs, and etc. All these informations go to the brain. Brain processing all these informations, and then he bring the decision, bring output. Output can be towards survival or towards performance. Okay. Now, I'll tell you one interesting story when I started to work, and I will explain this picture. I was working in one private ordination, and I had one very experienced colleague with me. And one day in ordination came a radiologist with terrible back pain. He barely couldn't move to bend over anything, and he expected that we're gonna put him on some sort of therapy. He will lay down, we'll put some electrotherapy, ultrasounds, but no, my colleague wanted him to move. So in the history, radiologists, they know to read X-rays, MRIs. He did an X-ray to himself, and he know that he had a discus hernia. So this is when the material from the disc in our spine goes out, and it can potentially pinch the nerve. And this is on the scan. He took this scan. He went to the neurosurgeon who do the surgery for these things, and surgeon told him, by looking this scan, told him be careful how you move, told him that bending over is very dangerous for him, that he can end up in the wheelchair. The guy was in shock, very feared. He couldn't bend over 1 centimeter. We tried, my colleague put the pen down and asked him to pick up the pen. He didn't want. He always going with his knees down. So he said that he don't want, he's scared. And then my colleague did one trick, because we tried to educate him about the pain, that his pain doesn't come from these things. It's coming more from the fear and expectation that he can be very bad and that he can end up in wheelchair. And this didn't work. And then my colleague told him to go in kneeling position and told him just to sit down with his legs. And he did that pain-free. And my colleague asked him, how you bent over now? He said, I didn't bend over. He said, yes, you bent over, but just from less bearing position. And he was completely in shock how he did this pain-free, and this was for him the most painful thing in the world. And in that way we proved him that the condition on the X-ray is not causing him the pain, just his expectation about and his fear and anxiety gave him this amount of pain. So all these things that we have, sensory input that I told, previous experience about the pain, cultural factors, expectation about the consequences, all these things brain consider, and then he's looking and asking himself, how is this really dangerous? If the brain feel the threat, we'll get some sort of output, and in this case we can get a pain, or we can get a startle reflex where we defend ourselves, we can get inflammation, and so on, so on. Threat bucket model, this is the most simplest way of the threat neuromatrix theory, and there is a lot of things that I will add here, but this is examples. Just look at this bucket as a capacity of our body. Every person has different capacity. When our bucket gets full, when get overflowed, is it because of the stress? Is it because of the relationships on the work? Is it because you're not strong enough? You're not active enough? If you maybe your sleeping is not good, your nutrition is not good. When the bucket get overflow, we're gonna get some sort of survival output. In this case, we are talking about pain, but it can be anything. So all these things, when you have pain or someone in your family have pain, you should consider all these things and try to find what makes your bucket full, and then to work on that. Advices, there is a good news. Most 99% of the pain situations are resolved by itself. And what is the goal is to become more resilient on the stress. And this is physical stress and psychological stress. In most cases, we are not able to decrease the stress. For example, if you have work on the stress, you're not able to decrease. But what you can do, you can get resistant more of that stress and become more robust. How we can increase this? First thing, my job, strength training, I recommend to everyone. With strength training, you can increase the capacity of your bucket, you can get stronger. There is a lot of good researchers going now out about meditation, combining with some breathing techniques, sauna, ice baths. They all also can increase the resistance of the stress. We have to improve our sleeping if it's not good, because during the sleeping we are recovering. All our plastic changes in the brain are happening during the sleeping. Our growth hormone are producing the most when we are sleeping. Also, when we talk about nutrition, high protein intake, meat, eggs, fish, poultry, dairies are very important, and high protein intake can also improve recovery of our body. And did I miss something? And yeah, the most important thing at the end, to be optimistic. Without optimism, rehab is not going in the right direction. If we think all the time about pain, we are getting better at reducing the pain. We are getting sensitive. When you become sensitive, the things that didn't produce the pain before now are starting to producing the pain. So yeah, like I said, optimism the most important factor. And with this, I would finish my presentation. Hope you like it, and if you have any questions, then let me know.